So in this video we will look at the concept of delay minimization in inverter cascade. Okay, so we have n inverters. We have n inverters 1, 2 up to n minus 1 n. So there are total n number of inverters and a large load capacitance CL. A large load capacitance CL. So this load capacitance is very large and it is driven by these inverters. Okay, so this CL is driven by a large, very large inverter N, and this inverter is driven by a smaller inverter N minus 1. Okay, so all these inverters get bigger in size as we move. Okay, so first inverter is the smallest in size, then second inverter is bigger than this first inverter, then this n minus 1 inverter is bigger than the n minus 2 inverter, then this this is the largest inverter. This inverter has the largest size. Okay, and this first inverter has the smallest size. So this is a standard reference inverter. This is a standard reference inverter. So its input capacitance, that is Ci, is known. Its input resistance, that is Ri. Its the FET resistance Ri is known. Also its transconductance, that is beta 1, is known. So this first inverter is the smallest in size. It is also called reference inverter, and for this inverter we know the input capacitance, its resistance and its transconductance. So all these parameters are known for this first inverter. Okay, and then as we move from 1 to n, these inverters get bigger in size. So you can also see this second inverter is bigger in size than the first inverter, then this nth inverter is bigger in size than the n minus 1 inverter. So this nth inverter has the largest size. Okay, and the stages are scaled such that first is the smallest and n is the largest. So what we can say is beta 1, that is transconductance of first inverter, is less than beta 2, is less than beta 3 up to beta n minus 1 is less than beta n. Okay, so the transconductance of the nth inverter is the largest. And for obtaining this scaling, we can name this as equation first. So for obtaining this scaling to increase the size of the transistors, we increase the size of the transistors by a factor s, where s is greater than 1. We increase the size of the transistors by the factor s, where s is greater than 1. So what we can say is that beta 2 will be equal to s beta 1, then beta 3 will be equal to s beta 2. Okay, so all the transistors are increased by the factor of s. S is the scaling factor, its value is greater than 1. S is the scaling factor whose value is greater than 1. So beta 2 will be equal to s beta 1, beta 3 will be equal to s beta 2. So in general form we can write that beta j plus 1 equal to s beta j. Beta j plus 1 equal to s beta j, where beta is your transconductance. So write this as equation 2. We write this as equation 2. Beta j plus 1 is equal to s of beta j. Okay, suppose a signal is applied at the input of inverter 1. A signal Vi is applied at the input of inverter 1. The input signal Vi is applied at the input of inverter 1. So what we want is we want to find the number of these stages n. what we want to find is, we want to find, first thing is the number of stages, which is n. So I am defining the problem here. We want to first find the number of stages n, then we want to find the scaling factor s. We want to find the scaling factor s, which produces the minimum delay in this inverter cascade. Okay, what we want to find is that we want to find the minimum time which is needed for this signal to reach this load capacitance CL. We want to minimize the time required. What we want is, we are defining the problem, we want to minimize the time required for signal to reach CL. For signal to reach CL. This is our problem statement. So we want to find what are the ideal number of stages n, and what is the ideal scaling factor s, which will help us to achieve the minimum time required for the signal to reach the load capacitance CL. Okay, so what we have was, now we have defined the problem statement. So we saw the scaling factor beta 2 equal to s of beta 1 and beta 3 is equal to s of beta 2. So if we substitute the value here, then beta 3 equal to s square of beta 1, because beta 2 equal to s of beta 1. So what we can write is that then beta 4 will be equal to s of beta 3, which will be equal to s cube of beta 1. Beta 4 will be equal to s cube of beta 1. So in the general form, what we can write is beta j is equal to s j minus 1 into beta 1. So this will be the third equation. That beta j is equal to s to the power of j minus 1 into beta 1, s to the power of j minus 1 beta 1. So beta 4 equal to s to the power 4 minus 1, so s cube into beta 1, and beta 3 equal to s square beta 2 equal to s beta 1. So the input capacitance will get scaled with our transconductance. The input capacitance gets scaled with transconductance. So Cj will be equal to S of j minus 1 into C1. Cj will be equal to S of j minus 1 into C1. So this will be the fourth equation. Then we know that input resistance, the input resistance or the FET resistance is proportional to 1 upon beta. The FET resistance is proportional to 1 upon beta. So the resistance of the jth stage, that is Rj. The resistance of the jth stage will be equal to R1 upon s to the power j minus 1, because the resistance is inversely proportional to beta, so the scaling factor will also be the inversely proportional. So Rj will be equal to R1 upon s to the power j minus 1. So this is the resistance of the jth stage. Rj is the resistance of the jth stage. So the time constant for the jth stage, that is tau j, will be equal to Rj into Cj. The time constant for the jth stage will be equal to Rj into Cj plus 1. Okay, this is the time constant for the jth stage, Rj into Cj plus 1. Okay, so we can replace, consider the stages or model the stages like this. So this is the jth stage. So its resistance is Rj. Then this is the Cj looking into the jth stage. Then this is the this is capacitance Cj plus 1. So this is the J plus first stage. So the time constant for the jth stage will be equal to Rj into Cj plus 1, because if we draw the direction of currents, then the charging current direction will be like this and the discharging current direction will be like this. This is the direction for the charging current and this is the direction for the discharging current. So the jth stage will see the capacitance Cj plus 1. So the time constant for the jth stage what we wrote was Rj into Cj plus 1. Okay, so I hope you got why the time constant for the jth stage includes Cj plus 1, because jth stage sees Cj plus 1 as the capacitance. So the total time constant for the chain will be calculated by summing the time constants of all the inverter. So the total time constant can be calculated by summing the time constants of all the inverter stages. So the total time constant will be equal to time constant of all the stages tau 1 plus tau 2 plus up to tau n minus 1 tau n. So tau 1 will be equal to R1 C2, tau 2 will be equal to R2 C3, then Rn minus 1 Cn will be the time constant of the n minus 1 stage, and the time constant for the nth stage will be Rn Cl, because it sees Cl as the load capacitance. Okay, so where CL will be equal to C of n plus 1. CL will be equal to C of n plus 1. So we can write it as equal to S of n into C1. Okay, so this will be equal to S of n into C1. So we can write here CL equal to S to the power n into C1. S to the power n into C1. Now we can write this as R1 into S of C1 plus R1 upon S into S square of C1, and write this R1 into S of C1, because C2 is equal to S of C1, R1 will be R1 only, R2 is equal to R1 upon S, C3 equal to S square of C1, C3 equal to S square of C1. Then Rn minus 1, the Rn minus 1 will be equal to R1 upon S to the power n minus 2. This will be equal to R1 S to the power of n minus 2. Then this Cn will be equal to S to the power n minus 1 into C1. Okay, then Rn will be equal to R1 upon S to the power n minus 1 into S to the power n C1. Okay, so this, if we simplify this, then this will be equal to S of C1 R1. This will also be equal to S of C1 R1, because one S will cancel one S, so this will be equal to S of C1 R1. This will also be equal to S of C1 R1, and this will also be equal to S of C1 R1. So there are actually n terms of C1 R1. So this tau d, there are actually n S C1 R1 terms. So tau d can be written as n into S into C1 into R1. Tau d, or the total time delay through the inverter cascade, can be written as n into S into C1 into R1. So we can also write it as tau d is equal to ns into tau 1, where tau 1 is equal to C1 R1, So first stage is the reference stage, so we know a value of R1 and C1, so we know tau 1. What are unknowns is N and S. N and S are unknown to us. Okay, So to find these values of n and s, and we have to what? We have to minimize this time delay. We have to minimize this time delay through this inverter chain. So we consider that CL is equal to s to the power n into C1. CL is equal to s to the power n into C1. So if you take natural logarithm of both the sides, then what you get is, first do CL upon C1 is equal to s to the power n. Now take natural logarithm of both the sides. So natural logarithm CL upon C1 is equal to n natural logarithm of s. Okay, so n will be equal to the value of n will be equal to natural logarithm of CL upon C1 upon natural logarithm of s. This is the value of n. So we can substitute that here. We can substitute that in the formula for the time delay. So this will be equal to natural logarithm of CL upon C1 upon natural logarithm of s into tau 1, where tau 1 is the time delay of the reference stage. Okay, so to minimize this, what we do is, we find the partial derivative. So we have to find the partial derivative with respect to s. Why we find the partial derivative with respect to s? Because this tau d is a function of only of s, because CL, C1 and tau 1 are this CL, C1 and tau 1 are constants. So only s is variable here. So we have to find the partial derivative of this time delay with respect to s. So this will be equal to delta upon delta s into s upon ln of s, because all other are constants, and we have to equate it to 0 to minimize this. What we have to do is, we have to equate it to 0 to find the minimum value. To minimize this time delay, we have to we apply the derivative condition, so we equate it to 0. So what we get is partial derivative with respect to s for s upon ln of s, equal to 0, because all other are constants, so we will equate it to 0. So what we get is 1 upon ln of s minus 1 upon ln of s minus s equal to 0, minus s upon s equal to 0. So what we get is ln of s equal to 1. Ln of s, natural logarithm of s equal to 1. So s will be equal to exponential, so this will be equal to 2.71. So the number of stages is equal to 2.71. The number of stages is equal to 2.71. So n will be equal to natural logarithm of CL upon C1 upon natural logarithm of s. So this s, natural logarithm of s is equal to 1. So n is equal to CL upon C1. So this will give the minimum time delay. So the minimum time delay if you substitute the values, will be equal to E into natural logarithm of CL upon C1 into tau 1 into tau 1. Okay, so this gives the minimum value of the time delay. So this is our answer, that we have to find the minimum value of time delay. And also the signal, also what we found was tau d was same for all the stages. The tau d was s r1 c1 n times. Time delay was s r1 c1 into n times. So we can say that the signal delay through every stage is identical. The signal delay is identical through each and every stage, because the signal delay is equal to s r1 c1 into n. So the signal delay is identical through each and every stage. So it means that we have to what we did was we minimized the, or we equalized the delay through all the stages. Okay, so I hope this derivation was clear to you, and you now know how to minimize the delay in the inverter cascade. So this is a very important concept for VLSI design and designing CMOS circuits. So this was a very good topic for VLSI students. So I will make more such videos. So please like and share the video and subscribe the channel. Also please share your comment in the feedback box. Thank you for the your support.